What's up? Welcome to Sound Healing Part 2. I can't see if it's actually working. Yeah, it is. Sound Healing Part 2. So today we're going to look at Mars and Gaia, Uranus. But we'll come to that in a minute. First of all, I want to say yet again, thank you, beautiful, wonderful people on here sending amazing messages. I'm reading them all, but I'm not able to reply to them all. But I had a really great idea. You're such amazing people with such brilliant ideas that why don't you and us all reply to each other? Let's engage in conversations and raise the collective energy. And that would really be just fantastic. So I also want to talk about this little drink that we've all fallen in love with here. This is hibiscus tea that you make, and you put some lime rind and lime juice in, and some honey, or I used coconut flower blossom syrup, and you make yourself a nice cold iced tea. So I'm having this to get myself ready to sing to you all. It has some amazing properties, but you can look them up on Google. So I want to talk about, first of all, this business I have with Gaia. So the energy frequencies of planets are changing and transforming. Part of the age of Pisces was that planets contained a kind of raw masculine energy frequency, and that's all been changing recently, and that's why there's been this big shift and this very odd 2020 moment. So for me, the planet of Uranus, which is the magician, bearing in mind that the magician in tarot is the first card that comes after the void, the fool, the nothingness. So from that void comes the magician, and the magician creates with his hand magic, he controls all of the elements and creates the entire cosmos. And then he stands there and he looks at it, because what you need to understand about the raw male energy is its need to be the survivor of everything. It will tread on everything, destroy everything in order for it to be the single ego. So that's the dominant rule and force throughout the age of Pisces. Now, he stands there and he looks at his beautiful creation and he's like, wow, quite proud of that. And of course, pride is an emotion, and he's never felt an emotion other than his ego's need to survive everything. And because this then unlocks the other end of his energy extreme, which is the divine feminine, she comes pouring in like a tidal wave, and she just crushes him down. And she says, look at this beautiful, wonderful, amazing cosmos that you've built. She said, you selfish bastard. And she says, now sod off. And you're not to come back until you've learned to be emotional and you've learned to understand emotions. And then she says, this high priestess, I'm going to descend as the empress and I'm going to create all life, which she does. So then he comes back when he's learnt emotions as the emperor, the consort to the empress. Now, the empress energy, which is emotional femininity, is a beautiful energy, but her love of life means that often life can destroy other life. So an ivy is a very beautiful plant, but it can kill an oak tree or another tree if it hangs on it and eventually chokes it and pulls it down. So the emperor is the energy of understanding the need for survival. And so the emotional masculine comes in and works as a gardener, the pruner, and trims the ivy so that both can live side by side. And the emotional feminine loves this. She thinks this is absolutely beautiful. And that's when they kind of fall in love a bit. And he has his epiphany moment and they begin to balance each other. His epiphany is the Hierophant card, and he becomes then divine masculinity. And that's what's just recently happened to the Earth grid. So the reason I'm telling you this is because Uranus is in the planet suite, which I really think you should all go and listen to, because I've got it going around in my head at the moment. But the subtitle of the Uranus movement is The Magician. And it's really interesting that when it's raw masculinity, it creates that kind of magic. And really, that's why I'm always calling Uranus Gaia, because it's already divine feminine. It's already changed in the cosmos' larger fractals. It just hasn't filtered down to Earth yet. So, we're going to look at Mars first, and then we're going to look at Gaia, as we're calling it. But Mars actually has also changed. The energy within Mars is the bringer of war. And it's interesting that Holst didn't create the planets based on the Roman deities. He based the planet's suite's interpretation and movements on the psyche and how he felt we interpreted these planets through our auric fields and our energy bodies. And that's how I look at them when I'm doing sound healings. So Mars, with its collegno opening, it's actually collegno battuto, where they do a rhythm, but the strings have turned their bows over, and instead of using the horsehair, they're using the wood, so you get this very clicky kind of and it's like it always reminds me of an orchestra of tiny insects kind of crawling towards you, and they're going to come, they're going to take over everything. Now, when I sing, and we do the healing with our headphones, run and get them now, there is this sense that I'm going to try and shake every molecule in your body, because the note C of Mars relates not just to all the molecules, but to the Earth. It's the frequency that we lock ourselves into the Earth. Now, Mars is the bringer of war. And just like with the idea of Gaia, Uranus, having different aspects of raw, emotional, divine, masculine and feminine, we're also moving through with Mars. So Mars is no longer the bringer of war. It's not even using one of the feminine energies that link into it. It's actually become divine. And so Mars really needs to be linked to Minerva, and Minerva with her owl of wisdom. She's the goddess that deals with music and poetry and creativity. So the energy of Mars has changed. We have to stop thinking of these planets as having these particular energies that are in one certain frequency. So, because everything changes, nothing is forever. So, we're going to look with the tarot at Mars and Gaia, or Minerva and Gaia. But I don't want you to forget that they're relating to parts of the body. So, Mars, please. Can we have a card for Mars? We've got two cards for Mars. Actually, it's telling me one's Mars and one's, yeah, it makes complete sense. So, it just wanted to zap them out quick. Now, what do we have, please? Cosmic cards. Mars. Ooh, that's a bit. Mars, 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 Mars. Interesting. It's my lovely Kalimar card. Ooh. And then let's have the lovely Muse deck by Chris Ann. Love this deck so very much. Check out Santaro, because she's using this deck now, and she's got the most amazingly beautiful messages coming from them. It's a joy to see them. So, what do you have for Mars, please? What do you have for Mars, please? That one. What do you have for Gaia, or Minerva, as that one was? Oh, interesting. And what do we have, please, for Mars? Oh, they're jumpy. This is the Muse, the Lightseers, the sibling, the sister deck. Oh, that's a real big spillage. But actually, only one's face up, so I'm gonna... Oh, I've just looked at the others and it's like you have to keep them. It's too long. This is meant to be about the singing. So, what do you have for Gaia? Oh, you see, that was a really, I was going to say that was a really floaty single one, but there is a second that's come along. So, that's also interesting. I need to just say this now, this ears and throat, neck. So, there's a lot, it will come up again. I'm going to say it now, that it's a general energy. Ears, inflamed ears, problem ears, throats, waking up this morning people with like needing to turn because you can't move your neck. These are all natural energies. Oh, and also they're going, ring the bell. Neptune, beautiful Neptune, has gone retrograde. And it's going to be retrograde until November. And Venus has just gone direct again. So Venus was retrograde. Now back in January, around the 28th or something, Venus occulted almost Neptune, but she kissed Neptune. Neptune's about very deep, dark illusions, changing the way in which we perceive ourselves and how we think about ourselves, and coming to big changes that need to take place. So, saying that I'm going to have to touch on Neptune as a note, but not as an energy. We're going to add, the next reading for the sound healing will be the 3 cleansing energies, which will be Uranus, Gaia, that's the top crown cleansing energy. Jupiter, Juno, which is the thyroid and thymus energy wings cleanser. And the livers, kidneys and spleen. But that will be the next one. But they do want me to add, that they've said I've got to add, once I've done your molecules and put your consciousness into your body to earth in, they want me to add Neptune, because you've got to start facing these very difficult things within our psyche that are taking place at the moment. So, let me just get these cards down and see what we've got going on. That's really interesting. We've got just one there. And yet we've got 4 of these other ones. So, Mars, or Minerva, as we're saying, starts with 28 and 33. Okay, 33, they're saying, is to do with Neptune. So I'm going to read that separate. There's going to be another link to Neptune. Maybe it's one of those two. Sorry, you have to just bear with me there. What did we have? Those two. Well, that's her. Right, okay, I've got it now. So, we're beginning with the Mystical Shaman Oracle. And we have Jaguar. Jaguar is the top predator. And there's a earringing now coming in. There's a download coming from Mars. So, there is a video on here. I will try and remember to put a link in, but I'm always saying these things and then I get so caught up in the message and things I forget. There is an earringing thing and how you deal with earringing. You have to tune it into your auric field as a figure of 8. So, what am I getting from this card? I'm sorry, I'm transfixed because yesterday some friends pulled this card and I was explaining to them how to look deeper within these cards, because these cards have the most terrific hidden energies inside them. There's some, okay, now I get it. There's a much bigger, slower moving picture. There's a turtle's head coming out through the heart of the panther. And it's got its eyes shut. It's making very slow, it's almost like you're, how can I, So, your body, Mars, Minerva, is all your molecules. They belong to the Earth, and from within your molecules, your shell, your physical body, a new energy is emerging slowly, and it is this turtle breaking free from the chest, it's to do with your Gaia consciousness coming down, connecting. It's the linking of the two kundalini snake energies. Okay. And there's a lot of paths up and down and dealing with an ending of heartache. Oh, that's again that connection. So here we have this energy of, I'm seeing Neptune and the moon. I'm seeing Neptune and the moon, but they're not saying why. That might come out at a later point. But Neptune and the moon have got some kind of position that they're going to get into soon over this retrograde period, sometime towards November, when this it is November. That's when the tantric jiggy business gets going. So anyway, that's much later. Spiritual Wheel of the Year reading is on here somewhere. I'm going to say I would link that in. I know I'm going to forget all these things, because when I finish these readings, I need to watch them, because you write beautiful comments about really specific things, and I don't even remember saying them. So I will try and remember to post those links. That's 2. Can't even remember what the first one was now. So Mars, Minerva, is a new frequency. Our bodies are now able to link into the Earth. For empaths and people who are sensitive, it's been a nightmare life before this, because you couldn't link into anything. You couldn't ground yourself into the Earth without feeling the raw masculinity and feeling that sense of fury and aggression. And so that's why we've got the 3 of voices. Oh, and now they're grabbing me by the neck and saying this is what this earache. Oh, also, I had this before we started. I had left iodine treatment. So there's something from your past which is linked to this Neptune energy that you're not able to see, because you don't want to look at it yet. And it's because it's very ancient DNA trauma that's in your physical body that needs to go away. I'm just gonna I'm gonna sound the sea of Mars, so that you've got that sense of this frequency in your head while I'm talking about it. So there is I can feel a collective tightness around this note. It's like, sorry, I feel like I'm shouting now. It's like the energy of the new divine masculine energy is so fresh, so new, that your Gaia consciousness kundalini energy from the cosmos hasn't yet learned how to get down there and voice what it is that needs to be voiced. And that's why we have the 3 of voices. This is the 3 of swords. This is that painful heartache, that sense of being locked out of everything, being in isolation. And it is interesting, the focus is that from the ground, between the toes, the energy, there's 2 spikes of this energy rising. Oh, it's really fascinating the way that's drawn. And it's the way it all layers across things. It's like being in a shadow, not sitting in the light, but the door, the portal, which you're not looking at, which has a tear from the cosmos, from the divine feminine crying, coming this energy dribbling down. But just here, the door itself has been part of the prison. So we're moving past that, and that's part of this karmic release. So I don't think I even said karmic release when I was talking about Jaguar because of the turtle coming out of the chest. This is the card of karmic release, massive karmic release. And it's karmic release, and that's why they're talking about Neptune. Neptune is, as I said, the darkest, oldest DNA traumas that take place. And also, Neptune has a really interesting feature about it. One of its moons, Triton, is the only body in our solar system that travels in the reverse direction, which is just very, very beautiful, because we have to have a link, an anchor point to the very past with something going the opposite way, because nothing that takes place is only in one direction. There's always the winding figure of 8 infinity symbol that rotates, because everything is in cycles of positive and negative and dark and light. So they're wanting me to say part of connecting with this energy of the connecting of the two kundalini energies, which I will go into a bit more in a bit because it's coming up as one of the cards, is the need to understand that you have to be able to see and witness the darkness if you're going to witness the light. So, they're talking again. So, the Three of Voices, the Three of Swords is the pain. We've got with it the Hierophant. The Hierophant card is because this is Mars and this is the Earth as well, and this is that energy of divine masculine. This is that divine masculine epiphany point that I said about at the beginning. But do you notice that it's almost like the energy has come down from Gaia, Uranus, to reach this epiphany point so that you can join the energy in your heart and create this new slow-moving turtle that comes forward, that sees the bigger picture. There's something very magical about the number of segments around the outer edge of a tortoise's shell, and I can't remember how many it is, but it might be 13, 15 or 17. We can look it up and we can all have a discussion about it, but let's hope it's 13 because that's super magical. So the divine masculine is allowing you, with the divine feminine, this idea that you have a kundalini energy, this base of the spine snake that they talk about in many yogic practices, is the energy snake of the earth grid, the part of your energy that belongs inside the core of the earth, in the 5D where there's the crystalline grid, not in the 3D where there's the magma, but in the 5D, and it comes up and it rises when you connect to that fearlessness and embrace the darkness. I started saying that just now and got slightly sidetracked, but you can't see the light unless you see the dark. You've got to accept that everything that's been awful, all that Neptune darkness, frozen hard, that we don't want to look at, had to be there. If it wasn't there, we can't get to this next point. We can't climb the staircase. Every pain that we've been through is another rung on this ladder upwards. So you mustn't hold resentment or anger towards anything awful that's happened in your life. So when this energy snake rises, the Gaia consciousness, the cosmic consciousness one of the thing that animates you, that comes from the galactic center of the earth, from that dark black hole energy space, they meet in the heart, these two snakes. Now, originally, the earliest example I think of that we have so far is in the Book of the Netherworld, that came from Tutankhamun's tomb. And in that, there is an image of a figure with an Uberos snake, the snake that eats its own tail, one over the chest and head and another over the legs and feet. And it represented Isis and Osiris coming together to create in the underworld Horus. And the age of Aquarius is often described in Egyptian mythology as the coming of the age of Horus, which is a new energy. So this is allowing us to stop when this connection between the two energies creates the link in our heart, we get this wonderful Zen-like, transcendental, floaty energy of 5D hermit mode, inner truth. And this is to really, these two cards are saying, Ten of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, let go of all the bad thoughts and shed, I do want to say, shed all of the possessions, this need to hang on to things, free yourself to move forwards. It's almost like part of the Mars warlike energy is to go in, defeat other people and steal for yourself all that there is. And that's what our society has been based on. So it's tribal kind of families who have managed to raise their level of wealth to keep other people poor. And this is all part of the energy that Minerva, as the new Mars, the divine feminine Mars energy, is changing. You know, in the 60s we had the raw feminine energies that came in from Mars to burn this ego away, but we have to burn the ego away now. And this Jaguar is actually talking about ego as much, because ego is part of the karma. Look, ego will always be there. Ego is important to living in this world in a linear time frame. But we have to understand, there was a phrase I used before, the ego needs to be able to get in the back seat of the car sometimes and just enjoy the journey. It keeps us safe, but sometimes it over controls us. So now let's have a little look at the energy of Gaia, Uranus. Right, there is a massive thing to do. I'm going to come back, but they're saying put that down with the Pluto ones, this moon card. There's some aspect, and I don't know when it is. Maybe someone that's a great astronomer or astrologer can look it up and find out what this Neptune and Moon, the Neptune Moon aspect that's coming up. I feel that it's got something to do with something that happens in October, November time to clear something. Anyway, so consciousness is crown energy. It's one of the great cleansers that comes in from very far back in our auric field. And often when I'm doing sound healings, I have to create a kind of shape like this with my arms, and I move my elbows and the person's head is here. Oh look, I can do this. I put the bowl there, so I'm moving and I'm singing over the top of the person's head. I'm trying to capture the edges of their frequency so that I can amplify and unfold the consciousness node, because consciousness, this area, there's so much information and stuff, it gets very dusty and cloudy. So I use a very, very sharp laser sound, and I'm resonating the gaps between the skull and the brain, that walnut edging, because there's all these tiny spaces that I can get my voice into and start to shake. So I'm going to try and do that as if you're the collective head that's there. I think that might have started to clear your ears. Oh, it's made my ears go funny. So now I'm going to do that same sound, and I'm going to pull it deep into your body, because the idea previously was that the divine feminine consciousness needs to earth itself into the stomach, into the sacral. So I'm going to pull it down there, and then when we go to the proper sound healing, we're going to try and ground it into the actual earth, because now it's got to go past the sacral and into the earth so that we can get this hierophantrix balance energy. Okay, so let's just do that little pulling down. Oh! So, just wait for the siren. There's the siren, people! Hooray! It always happens when the truth comes. Right, so I'm going to darken this sound after and pull it down into the stomach, into the sacral. So, bounce your consciousness. So, beauty way. This is what the divine feminine energy is bringing to us as we earth. There's a lovely, lovely, lovely dragonfly. Watch, oh, see, and I'm going to tell you to watch something else, and so I'm going to remember to post this as well. The horse reading for the 6th new moon, you have to have a look at that, because it's got all the information about the life cycle and the transformative quality of a dragonfly from its nymph stage to its dragonfly stage. And it is the most beautiful thing that talks about divine blueprint changes to your DNA. But I really don't want to repeat that here. Have a look at the horse reading. You only got to scroll back a little bit to find that one. And it's all about the beauty way. This is about the lotus of the earth opening. Now, what am I seeing inside here? Okay, so I'm seeing Neptune. I'm seeing seashells. Seashells, they came up in the new energy. Abalone and mother of pearl. This is another theme. There's something to do with the sea. I'm now seeing a huge kraken, a giant squid. Why? There's a giant squid in there. Squid is octopus squid, so it's master keys. It's saying that there's a cleansing energy in the sea. The sea is trying to change the frequency now of the Akashic records. It's all the memories of the Akashic records that are needing to be cleansed and cleaned out and changed. So what else have we got in this beauty way? We've got the blossoming of the sacral opening with the Gaia consciousness. It's almost, I want to say, like things stop decaying in the same way, but I'm not sure what that means. There's a need for her to exclaim something, and there's a sense of, I want to say that there's an extreme pleasure that you will get from walking barefoot through grass that's covered in dew, which is lovely, but they want you to do that if you can find it. Oh, look at him there. I'm seeing Oceanus. So Trevi. Trevi Fountain is Oceanus. Oceanus or Oceana is the source of all water. So Poseidon and Neptune, they're gods that control the water, but if you look at the Trevi Fountain, the figure depicted in the Trevi Fountain is Oceanus, and he's skidding on the water because he's the point that creates water. So he's the birthing portal of emotions. And as I say, Oceana is the divine feminine aspect of that. Wow, yeah, he's sitting quite firm, like he's done his job. And on this side, I am seeing, oh, wow. So it's his phase is over, and Oceana has opened her eye on the other side. You're not going to see this, I don't think. She's over here and he's over there. It's just their weird portal energies that are opening within the card that's transformative for us. So that's the first part of that energy. And then we have clear and activate, create a sacred space. This is beautiful because this is card 9. 9 is the divine frequency. This is that space that we have where we alone sit in the world. Oh, and this is covered in fractal changes, hexagons, honeycombs, very strong, powerful structures that are coming on. Threes, there's threes flying, threes. It's like they're saying that the divine trinity is being broken into three pieces to move forwards to create. Oh! So you take two triangles and you break them apart, and then they become three lines, and the three lines and the three lines come together, and somehow they'll create a perfect hexagon, the inside of a hive. And hives are all to do with the collective and working together. So the new geometric symbol or the light language code is about hexagons to create unity between us. That's very beautiful. But also 9 and 4 is the divine 13. Please tell me that the turtle has 13 squares or 13 shell parts as it goes around its shell. Oh, and it's a shell. Shells, shells, shells. Shells are very protective. Shells are, that's beautiful energy. So, I've got this, this is that neck ache, earache business that's going on right at the moment. And it's to do with a maudlinness. Maudlinness, I love that word. Is it a real word? I mean, maudlin obviously is, because you have Magdalen College, but that's spelled Magdalene, but it's pronounced maudlin. But there's a maudlinness. It's an unwillingness to accept the blood that has been spilt to get us to this point. So it's this energy where we refuse to hear, we refuse to see what happened before was divinely intended to help us to get somewhere. So we have, going with this card in a similar energy, this card's usually a cosmic gift, but do you know what? Today she is Miss Maudlin. So she's kind of, she's not seeing the truth. And you see, last time that's exactly the opposite, but today she's not seeing the truth. The bowl behind her is full of joy, and she's just still tipping her energies down into the world that was before this change that we've gone through in 2020. She's still, you know, lost down this rabbit hole, and yet the frequency energy is rising up and it's really bursting into her face, just like this card is. So it's asking you to go to the opticians and put on a new pair of glasses so you can see properly. I love this card, the Page of Voices. She is, she is her own holy mountain. Really interesting as well. She has on her finger a star. Above her head is the whirling energy of Gaia consciousness coming in, and it's giving her new vision, new clarity, because as we melt off these old Neptune energies, she's seeing things renewed, she's getting something new. It's also interesting, she's referencing that she's got mother of pearl buttons below, white, but just up here, she's got 2 gold and 2 gold cuff buttons. Now, remember I said how gold is part of the energy that's to do with the Earth grid, and there is that article I did put on. I'm just going to put on another article that I'm going to forget to actually post in the description box, but it's on my website, and I can't even remember what that's called, and I posted it the other day. Might be the Lioness Portal one from the Divine Feminine Lioness energy on the 8th of the 8th last year. And don't forget, that's all coming up soon, the Egyptian astrological New Year and the 8/8 portal. So yeah, clarity of vision. So now let's come to this. This is the E flat of Neptune in retrograde, What's Neptune trying to do? Neptune is allowing us, this is magical, it's 22 and 33. It's soul fragments, balance will be restored. This card for me is Kali Ma energy usually, but now this is divine feminine energy, reaching into the raw emotional and divine masculine and finally fixing that heart energy. That's the exact same space where I've just witnessed this turtle emerging from its shell. It's us emerging from our shells. So you've got this kundalini rising, soul fragments and 22 kundalini rising. When we fix, oh, it's upside down. So when we can face these dark, icy, physical bodies, and this is kundalini rising, this is almost kundalini descending. This is getting that balance, and it comes with the moon. And I'm not going to go much more into that. It's merely symbolic of something that we need to understand. So, let's join the notes and do a little bit of the healing sounds. So, they want me to sing the E flat of Neptune first to cleanse livers, kidneys, and spleen and all of those kind of areas. They're very difficult. Now, they're a really interesting one in that they come out. I'm going to have to just stand up a little bit. They come out of your body here. Oh, look, this is my new t-shirt, people. It's Mannanan. And Mannanan is perfect for this. He's the Isle of Man sea god. So he is their version of Neptune. So we're bang on with this one today. That's pure accident. He only arrived yesterday. So we want the... I just play random notes now. This one can be quite tricky. I stood up, not to show you the shot, I stood up to talk to you about how the liver and kidney and spleen energies, rather than coming out centrally like all the other chakra energies, this one comes out of two pipes there and it goes in this kind of direction. I'm only saying that so that you can consider it coming out in a different way, because it sits either side of the solar plexus. Was hot. That's made my face hot. That would be good for, weirdly, for your neck, which it shouldn't be because it's not a neck note, but that was, the energy of that was unblocked. Oh, it's unblocking. This stiffness is this, the thing that needs to be expressed, to speak up, to voice, to release. And that's to do with the divine feminine form of mind magic over the raw masculine hand magic. So to imagine, to use the ether, that's also in a video a couple of days ago, but I can't remember which one. So let's go to our body, molecules and everything, because I need to get this one now right inside your entire body. So I need to change my posture. You can lie down for this. This is drawing up the energy of Earth, Mars, Minerva frequency. So the energy comes down from Mars, it goes into the Earth, and it comes back up through the soles of your feet, through your pelvis and your coccyx, up your spine, all the way to the top of your head, out the top of your head, and it creates the first part of your protective shield around your auric field. You've got that going on again collectively. There is a real need to voice this. Three of Swords, to voice, and Page of Voices. This is to voice things in a new emotional language. This is the transformation that bringing the two energies together clears out. Sometimes just saying it is the instant release for something. So say it out loud. You don't have to tell anybody else at the moment. Just tell spirit, tell the world, tell the energies, and be grateful that the energy of the earth is now so loving that it wants to hold you in the natural world. The natural world will also connect in your heart with the lower heart of F, which was the knees yesterday. So, now we're going to do the Gaia Uranus energy, the B, and this is the energy of the kundalini descending rather than kundalini rising. That was really sharp in the throat. We might have to have another little sip of the hibiscus. I just have to be careful because I dribble from my moustache. Got it all over me now. I don't have a towel. Ears. We've got to get in your ears. So, bear with me. So Minerva energy, like Mars is associated with the symbol of the spear of Mars. You need to take your energy and imagine sticking the energy of Mars as it comes down into the body so that this Minerva wisdom can kind of slide in with the Gaia energy, okay? That was a bit wrong, so I just needed to, they were saying to me join them up, but I just, one sec people. So, we're going to join consciousness, body, and cleanse it through the liver, kidneys and spleen. Okay, so that's our little one. There will be whatever it was I said before. Next. The three great cleansing energies will be the next one. So have a lovely day and what's